Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troller. 1972 to 1975.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1972-75 Carryover League. It's playoff time. The playoffs are here in the American League. In the first round, we have the number 5 wild card 4. 5 versus 4. Here's our wild card schedules in the American League. 3 seed is Boston. 4 seed is Detroit. 5 seed Expos. 6 seed Texas. And today we've got the Expos and Detroit. And this is the 3rd time the team has met this year. They played a best of 7 before the All-Star break, and the Tigers won 4-3. They played a best of 7 in the postseason tournament, and the Tigers, again, won 4-3. As a matter of fact, I got a couple Game 7s up here to show you. So this is the first Game 7 in Burlington, or Montreal, where we relocated them. A 6-5 classic between Joe Coleman and Dave McNally. Game decided late. The Expos tied it in the bottom of the 7th with a bunch of hits. Then we had an RBI single by Dave Chalk, the hero, in the 8th. Tigers won that one, and that was the difference of the first 7 games they played. Hey, you like Game 7? I got another one for you. Another Game 7. This one in Detroit, second time around. Tom Timmerman for Detroit versus Steve Rogers. The surprise hero was Tom Timmerman. 7 strong innings, a solo homer by Billy Grabark, which is all the Expos could do. They just flat ran out of gas. They couldn't finish off their... They were tied 3-3 both times and had lousy Game 7s. And so that takes us to this series. So that's been the past. What's happening now? 5 versus 4. Here it is, the playoff. First playoff game, Game 591. Dave McNally versus Mickey Lolich. Battle of lefties. Probably could have been Baltimore and Detroit with McNally Lolich. Anyway, bottom of the first, you get a 2-run homer by Mickey Stanley. You get an RBI ground out by Mickey Stanley again in the 3rd. Then they knock McNally out in the 6th with a home run by MVP snub Willie Horton. A little ticked off he wasn't the MVP of the American League. It's a solo home run here. You get a double, single, an error by Expo second baseman Ron Hunt. It's all over. It's 6-2 in this one. But then the tables turn. Remember, this is just a 5-game series. It's the wild card round. So shortened series should help the underdog, which I guess would be the Expos since they haven't beaten the Tigers yet. Game 2, it is Steve Rogers versus Joe Coleman. This one, RBI single by Bill Freehan, 1-zip. But the Expos get a 2-run homer by Mike Jorgensen, solo shot by Ron Fairley, it's 3-1. A double by Ron Hunt, a sac fly by Bob Bailey, it's 4-1. And the Tigers offense has some chances, put a couple men on in the last 3 innings. But the Expos reveal their secret weapon. It's Dale Murray, not so secret. Best closer in the game, probably. He gets a 4-out save, and the Expos get a split. A game apiece. 2 teams that are fit to be tied or tied again. Game apiece. Home and away parks don't seem to matter for either club. So it's a Game 3 in Expo Land. It's going to be Tom Timmerman. He pitched that masterpiece last time against them in a Game 7. Bill Stoneman. Things are a little bit different here for Tom. Solo homer Gary Carter. And the Tigers are stuck in the mud. They can't do anything against Bill Stoneman. It comes apart for Timmerman in the 6th. He hits his point of weakness. Gives up homers to Jorgensen, Bob Bailey, walks 3 guys, gets knocked out. It's a 5-0 game. This time Timmerman 5 2/3, 8 hits and 5 runs. The Tigers finally get a run in the 7th on a Norm Cash homer. But then, with a couple guys reaching in the 8th, the Expos pull Stoneman and they go to their other secret weapon in the bullpen. It's Bob Reynolds, former Oriole, a toss-in the Dave McNally deal. Probably better than McNally. He gets the final 4 outs. It's like having 2 closers in one club. They're both relief 4s, too, which is even scarier. As this Expo can shorten the game more so than any team in the American League, besides the White Sox and A's, I guess. But a heck of a bullpen for the Expos. They take a 2-1 series lead, and we have a game 4 today. So for the year, we're keeping track of this. Detroit's won 9, and the Expos have won 8. But if the Expos win today, they will knock out the other World Series representative from a year ago, the Tigers. The Pirates have already been knocked out. Matter of fact, we can take one more quick peek, find this interesting, in the wild card matchups, because we have the results of a year ago here. In the wild card round a year ago, Oakland beat Toronto, and the White Sox beat the Yankees. Well, this year, Oakland and the White Sox are your top 2 seeds, so they're not in the wild card round. Toronto and the Yankees failed to make the playoffs. Pittsburgh, on their way to the World Series, knocked out the Cubs. Pittsburgh this year was knocked out principally by the Cubs. The Cubs are a wild card. And Philadelphia beat a Portland expansion team. Neither of these teams are still around. Only 3 wild card teams from a year ago are in this year's tournament. Thought that'd be interesting to show you. But anyway, it's a game 4 from Burlington, Vermont. The relocated Montreal Expos. Put them in the American League, put them in a new division, put them 2 hours south so that both countries could enjoy the franchise. Tigers and Expos. Your pitching matchups for Game 4. The Tigers will send Dave Lemanchik, a rookie, out there. In 75, 2-7 with a 4.46 ERA and 109 innings. This is not at all what the Tigers planned. Against Steve Ranko, one of the, I believe he was part of the expansion Expos, I'm thinking. In 73, he has one of his better years. 15-11, 281 ERA, and 250 innings. This has been the best Expo team we've put together since their expansion in 1969. They've made the playoffs much sooner than they would have in traditional MLB. And they're trying to win a playoff series. They could do it today, right here on YouTube. In a Game 4 from Lake Champlain. Leading off for the Tigers is the rookie, Ron LaFleur. 47's a K. Dick McCullough, 44, center X. This is Lee Stanton, a 2E9 in center. Makes the grab. And Al Kaline, 1/8's a base hit. Norm Cash, 1-4, grounds to short. Bottom of the first, it's Jerry White, 1/8's a single. Lemanchik is, yeah, I mean, he's better against righties and lefties, but you got Stevenson +1 arm catcher. Let's do a hit and run with Hunt. Runner has to steal on a roll of a 7, and runner gets thrown out stealing. It just doesn't seem to work very often, does it? Ron Hunt, 47, singles. See that? Don't do the hit and run and just get the single. You have nobody out. But anyway, there's 1 out and a man on for Jorgensen. Double 1, single ... Off the Lemanchik card. Runners in the corners, 1 out. They got a play back for Bob Bailey. 68's a sac fly to center. It's 1-0. And Ron Fairley fouls to the catcher. Willie Horton, 6'12", first C, and this is the designated hitter rolling the 6'12", forcing an injury on Ranko. So what that will do in our shortened rosters, we won't knock the guy out. We'll just get him to his point of weakness and try and get him out of there as soon as possible, probably by the 4th or 5th inning. So Renko will nurse an injury through the early innings here. Jim Northrup. 2-5, triple 1 to 16 is a triple. Obviously, he's nursing something there on the mound. Tie run at third, 1 out. They'll bring it up for Verizon. 58, short X. Billy Grabarkowitz, a 40-44 at short. And he surrenders a single. This is looking like a classic case of the young team not being able to put the dagger and finish off the old veteran team. That's been the problem this year. These Game 7s haven't gone well, and here's another elimination game, and we got an injured pitcher in a tie game with 1 out. Jerry Terrell, 2-5, pops out. John Stevenson, 1-7, double 1, single ... Runners in the corners for Ron LaFleur. 45, pops the first. Bottom of 2, it's Lee Stanton, 68, center. Jim Nettles, 2-4, second. Gary Carter, 36, as a K. Top of the 3rd, it's Dick McAuliffe. 35, another walk for Dick. Al Kaline pops the second. Norm Cash, 2-6, is a fielder's choice, and with 2 outs, it's Willie Horton. Here's a who. Skies the center field. Bottom of the 3rd, Billy Grabarkowitz. He strikes out. Jerry White, 5'11". Pitcher X. LeManchek, can you field your position? Yeah, not too bad. E13. It is a ground out. And with 2 outs, Ron Hunt. 66 flies the center. We got a 1-1 tie in the 4th. Jim Northrup, 65, second. Tom Verizon, 57 is a K. Jerry Terrell, 2-6, lines to second base. So now we got to figure out what we should do with Renko. Should we let him go another inning or yank him with the injury? We'll figure this out soon. Jorgensen, 54, center X. If he has a chance to qualify for a win, I might leave him in there. 4 in center field. This is Ron LaFleur. And Ron misplays it into a triple. Hate to see that, but that's what happens to these rookie outfielders. Mike Jorgensen's at third. The infield will come up for Bob Bailey. 2-3 grounds to third, but the runner has to hold. The ball hit right over near him. Still up for Ron Fairley. 5'11", pitcher X, comebacker LeManchek. Again, an E13, made the play last time. Makes it again, and with 2 outs, it's Lee Stanton. 112 is a Lomax. We go to the 5th. Well, you know, we're gonna pull Renko. We're gonna assume that is an injury, as to give some fairness to a guy who shouldn't be pitching anyway. He actually won an extra 2 and 2/3 innings. And we're going to go to Mickey Scott, the lefty, the seldom used lefty out of the bullpen, to see if he can just, get us to the 6th inning if possible. And because he's left-handed, the Tigers have a left-handed laden offense. They got Stevenson, McAuliffe, Cash, Northrup. So I'll pitch through to those guys. Late in the game, you can't expect that to happen, but early in the game, you can. So Mickey Scott will face John Stevenson, and Stevenson's looking over at the dugout. And actually, now I think they're just going to go to Bill Freehan. Bill Freehan's going to, let's take a look at a card. I haven't seen one yet. Bill Freehan's just going to come in because, frankly, this is the only chance you're going to face a lefty in this game, as they have McNally and Mickey Scott, the only lefties on the team. McNally doesn't pitch till Game 5. So this is Freehan's last real opportunity to get some good swings off a left-handed pitcher. 18 homers in 1974 and a .297 average. Where'd that come from? Again, the fountain of youth in Detroit. Their players just play like it's 1968. All right, Mickey Scott and the pitch to Bill Freehan. 65 is a double to right field. Here come the Tigers. Back up top to Ron LaFleur. 2-5, single one to 12, but he lines out on a 14. Second baseman Dick McAuliffe, he'll swing away. 58, short X. This is Grabarkowitz, a 4-44 shortstop. But he makes the play, ground ball C. Runner goes to third for Al Kaline. 45, grounds to second, so Mickey Scott survives that. We'll probably face 3 more batters in the 6th, then we'll call it. Chance to give the kid a win, if you can get a run here, in the bottom of the 5th against Dave LeManchek. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right. It'll be Jim Nettles leading off. 6-11, left X, out in left field. It is Northrup, a 2-6. Makes the grab. Gary Carter, 47, base hit. Billy Grabarkowitz. You know, I've never considered hitting and running. Grabarkowitz is a B hit and runner. That would increase his batting average. We're going to hit and run. Again. That still didn't work. Now we got a fielder's choice. All right. Back up top to Jerry White. 37. He flies to right field. 1-1 game in the 6th inning. Mickey Scott continues. Norm Cash. He'll stay in there. 39. Grounds to third. Willie Horton. 310 Ks. And with 2 outs, it's Jim Northrup. 56 is single one to 13. But he lines out on a 15. That kept Mickey Scott in the game. 1-1 game, bottom of the 6th. Fast-moving contest. Ron Hunt. 68. Flies to center. Jorgensen, 2-7 Ks. And Bob Bailey, 56. Another strikeout for Dave LeManchek. What a nice day it's been for him. The first 3 batters reach. You got a caught stealing in there. And then a couple base runners. Mickey Scott has picked up Branco. Now the question is, you got righty, and righty. Yeah, you got Freehand as well, plus LaFleur. You got 4 straight righties. I think we've done everything we possibly could with Mickey Scott at this point. And now we're going to continue to nurse our bullpen. So we're going to go to Tom Walker now. This Expo team's got a versatile pen. Walker, for the Expos in 72, had a 2.88 ERA in 75 innings. Very effective against right-handed hitters. And the Tigers have introduced at least a +1 with Bill Freehand. So Tom Walker comes on in the 7th of a 1-1 tie. Expos would love to win this series today, at home in their own park, versus risking yet another ultimate game versus the Tigers, which they, of course, haven't won yet. So here we are in the 7th. It'll be Tom Verizor. 39, rolls to short. Jerry Terrell, 66. Base hit the center field for the Beast Stealer. Base stealing and hitting and running has not been effective at all today. Bill Freehand will swing away. 48, lines the first. Back up top to Ron LaFleur, the rookie. Big moment here for Ron. 39, grounds to shortstop. A pitcher's duel in Lake Champlain. It's stretch time. We've been enjoying this wonderful, beautiful rivers and mountains, the psychedelic rock sound of South Korea's Shinyeongyang from 1958-74. Great psychedelic dirge stuff all over the place with this one. This one's particularly cool. I like this one. Sunset. Throw this down for you. In the bottom of the 7th, can the Expos rally? Dave LeManchek, Tiger bullpen, it's pretty good as well. John Hiller, George Culver, Bob Veal, Gary Gentry. Do the Tigers need to improve their defense before we set out? You know, frankly, in a tie game, We can do that. And that could be by putting Mickey Stanley in center field for Ron LaFleur, who just batted. Yeah, Ron went over, so that's enough of Ron LaFleur for today. Now we got a 1-2 in center. That should help the pitching. That's the only change. Lemanchek will continue. The kid's fighting a fight that Joe Coleman and Tom Timmerman could not fight, but he's doing it. And Mickey Lolich is waiting in the wings for Game 5. So here we go. Bottom of the 7th. It's Ron Fairley. 39 grounds the first. Lee Stanton. 39's a single. Now you got right fielder Jim Nettles. 58 is second X. This is McAuliffe. He is good. He's a 2E13 second baseman, but it's a cheap single. Off the Dick McAuliffe defense. Huge break for the Tigers. That's double play ball most times. Now there's going to be a mound visit. You got Gary Carter and Billy Grabarkowitz. The former is also a rookie, and the latter hit 167. Don't want to load the bases because Grabarkowitz draws a lot of walks. You'd hate to walk in a run. So Lemanchek will face Gary Carter. 1-4 is a 6-4-3 double play. Again, the Expos stumbling in an elimination game. Into the 8th for Tom Walker, but he's got lefty, righty, lefty. Righty, lefty. This is not good news. You've got the big Bob Reynolds, Dale Murray. They can pitch long and deep, but they've already pitched. Plus, you'd like to have them available for Game 7. Tom Walker's a relief 3. You just got to take your shot here. He's going to continue in a 1-1 affair. Dick McAuliffe. 1-9 is a sky to center. Al Kaline. 5-10 is a walk. That one hurt. And you don't have a lefty anymore to face Norm Cash. Ouch. Well, you could just assume Walker's only gone an inning and a third. Mickey Scott's gone 2/3 of innings. You could just go Bob Reynolds the entire rest of the way and save Dale Murray for Game 7, perhaps. So Bob Reynolds, I mean, you got two closers who are relief 4s with sub-2 ERAs. Murray is 103, but Reynolds is a setup guy with a 190. He was with Baltimore in 1973, 7.5, 186 ERA in 111 innings. His ERA was better than Grant Jackson, who the Orioles kept as their closer. Bob Reynolds will come into the 8th inning. Walker goes an inning and a third. He's responsible for the runner at first. But Bob Reynolds will face Norm Cash in the 8th. Runner at first. Kaline's got pretty good speed. Here's the pitch to Norm Cash. 1-5 for Norm is a base hit in the center field. You got Stanton and -3 arms, so Kaline will stay at second. Now you got MVP candidate Willie Horton, who's 0 for 3 today, with first and second and 1 out. 3-6 and Willie Horton walks, and the bases are loaded for Jim Northrup. They got to bring the infield up. Here's the pitch to Jim Northrup. 2-10, let's take a look again. The fountain of youth. You saw 74 Freehand. This is 73 Northrup. He only hits 307. It's Detroit, folks. All these guys can play till they're 40, or so it seems. We have expected the Tigers to fail for like 5 years in a row now, and they keep doing well into the postseason, and they're doing well right now. 2-10 is single ... and they've taken a 3-1 lead. Up and hold, 1 out for Verizon. 37's a K. And with 2 outs, it's Jerry Terrell. 2-7, Jerry Terrell, single ... is 4-1. He'll leave for Dave Chalk, a better defensive player. That's all the Tiger players in defense. Bill Freehand. 66 is a strikeout. Well, a stunned fan base here in Lake Champlain as their Expos are once again can't seem to finish off the old men of Detroit. The Tigers about to even this series. 4-1 lead, bottom of the 8th. You got to get LeMancic out of there. It's been a great run. No reason to leave you in there. The only question is, do you... Let's start the inning with George Culver before we go to John Hiller. George Culver, he was actually with the Astros in 72. 6-2, 3.06 ERA in 97 innings. He'll come on in the 8th. On the bench, all righties, and they're not very good ones. So Grabarkowitz will lead off. 2-8's a walk. That's a mistake. You don't walk a 167 hitter when you're up 3. Back up top to Jerry White. 69. Another walk by Culver. Huge mistakes. Now you get the righty Hunt. A bunter, but you're down 3. He'll swing away. 38 flies to center field. Now you got the tie run Jorgensen, Bailey, and Fairley. Do you go 5-out save for John Hiller and let Lolich go for the complete game in a Game 7? I think you want to do that. That's the choice they're going to make, thanks to Culver's walking base runners. So, John Hiller. This is the 3rd reliever on these 2 teams with a sub-2 ERA. 2 for the Expos, 1 for the Tigers. 73 Hiller. 10-5, $1.44 ERA in 125 innings. Being asked to get 5 outs, a 5-out save. Pretty popular in the era. First and second, 1 out, and he'll face Mike Jorgensen, the tie run. Here's the pitch. 65 is a ground ball to second C. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs for Bob Bailey. 34 flies to center field. Now in the 9th, though there's no other pitcher to pitch garbage time, so Reynolds will finish this. It'll be Mickey Stanley. 312 Lomax. McAuliffe. 55 Short X. Grabarkowitz is a 40-44 at short. Makes the play though. And with 2 outs, it's Al Kaline. 63 Pitcher X Reynolds. E38 pitcher. Doesn't help the calls. He boots it. And now you got Norm Cash. 57's a K. Buckle up for the bottom of the 9th inning. John Hiller with a 4-1 lead. All his defense is in there, trying to even the series 2 games apiece. Each team winning and losing on the road. Perfect scenario for a Game 5. Ron Fairley leads off. 57's a K. Lee Stanton, 2 7's a K. And batting for Jim Nettles will be J.L. Liu. And the pitch to J.L. Liu for 10. Center X, but we got Mickey Stanley out there instead of LaFleur. He's a 1-2 in center field, and that is your ball game. It started like gangbusters, and then it fizzled out for the Expos. 6, 7, 8. 4-1 final. Tom Walker will be the losing pitcher, unfortunately. Put that first guy on in the 8th, and then Bob Reynolds put some kerosene on that. So Tom Walker will take the loss. LeMancic does get the win, but he leaves after 7. John Hiller does get the save. And that ties the series 2 games apiece. We'll give you the results of Game 5 after the break. Back in Detroit, it'll be a rematch. Dave McNally versus Mickey Lolich. Does it get any better, folks? McNally? Lolich? We got World Series pitchers in the wild card round. So stay tuned. All right, baseball fans, here's the box score of the Game 4 you just saw. The visiting Tigers beat the Expos 4-1. Steve Franco got hurt after 4, so they had to go to Tom Walker and Mickey Scott. Mickey Scott did fine in his 2 innings. Walker did okay, walked the guy in the 8th, but it was the best of those relievers, Bob Reynolds, that got touched for 4 base runners out of 6 batters, and that's your ball game. Sadly for the Expos. 4-1, they couldn't muster an offense. After getting a run in the first off Lemanchek, he gives up 7 hits in 7 innings, no walks, 4 strikeouts. What a heroic performance for Dave Lemanchek coming out of nowhere. That's the key to the series right now. Otherwise, the Expos should have probably figured out a way to win this thing at home. So Game 5 is in Detroit, and it's a rematch of McNally-Lolich, and in this one, early, it's the Bob Bailey show. After a single, a 2-run homer, and the Expos have a 2-0 lead. But in the bottom of the inning, after a Mickey Stanley double, Al Kaline ties it with a 2-run homer, followed by a Willie Horton homer. And then in the second inning, another Mickey Stanley homer. A double and a homer for Mickey. It's 4-2. And then they get to McNally again in the 4th and 5th innings here. A double single walk, sac, fly. It's getting away from the Expos. It's 6-2 after 4. McNally's yanked. The strategy is to get Dale Murray in to pitch his max. But that means 1 inning in between that, which is Tom Walker. Walker gives up 3 singles and a sac fly in the 5th. So that makes it 7-2. When Dale Murray comes in, he gets 9 straight outs. But it's Mickey Lolich, the old guy. He would put men on base in this game. He got a double play after a single in the 4th, put 2 guys on in the 5th. In the 7th, a walk, single walk, bases loaded. He gets Mike Jorgensen at a comebacker. Surrenders a homer to Gary Carter in the 8th. Bob Bailey, by the way, went 3 for 4 plus a walk. Reaches in the 9th, but Mike Jorgensen strikes out to end the game. The Tigers, we've been doing this over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's a broken record. It's 1968, and there is a there is a time void. The Tigers, every offseason, they get in a spaceship, they fly to another planet, and they never age, and they return and replay 1968 every year all the way through the early 70s. You can't finish off the Tigers. And Mickey Lolich pitches another Game 5 or Game 7 game. Mickey Lolich has probably pitched the most Game 5s or 7s, win or loss. He lost all 3 World Series starts he had. And he started games 1, 4, and 7 of the World Series a year ago against the Pirates, lost them all. We forget that in a classic World Series. But he won the 2 starts he had against the Expos. Tigers win today 7-3. My goodness, Expos. My goodness, Expos. Let's take a look at the overall. Standings don't really matter that much anymore, other than for pride, I suppose. But here is, these guys, in a Game 7 they lost, another Game 7 they lost, and they just lost that Game 5. Well, that's the difference between the 2 clubs. That's it. That's what's different about them, They never would have played in this era, Tigers Expos, but here they have. And with the Tigers winning, their future opponent is to be determined. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the Rangers-Brewers. If the Rangers-Red Sox. If the Rangers upset the Red Sox, they would play Oakland. If Boston holds form and beats the Rangers, they'd play the White Sox. And the Tigers would play the other squad. That's it for the American League. Break up the old men from Motown. They've done it again, folks. They win in the postseason once they get there. They don't play great in the regular season, but once they get in the postseason, they'll win a series or 2 or 3. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.